welcome back to TC 911 Beyond the Call, the Tarrant 911 District podcast. I'm your host, Abbey Dudek, the communications coordinator here at Tarrant 911 District, and this is episode 5, and today I have the great pleasure of speaking with Elaine from Medstar Communications. How are you doing today, Elaine?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really great. Thank you so much for volunteering to come on my podcast.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's not as bad. We'll go through it. It'll be good. We'll have a good time. So you're at Medstar, and just to remind folks at home that Medstar has its own communication center. So if you live in Fort Worth, Fort Worth, Benbrook, Haltom City.
Yeah, 15 different areas.
Yeah.
Or I guess 14 now.
If you live in an area that surrounds pretty much Fort Worth and a little kind of connecting to Fort Worth.
Right.
And if you call 911 and need medics, the 911 the first 911 dispatchers that actually take the first initial call is usually the police dispatchers, and they'll transfer you to Medstar if you have a medical problem.
Right.
So, and we call at the district here, we call that a secondary PSAP. And if you've listened to other episodes, you'll know that PSAP stands for Public Safety Answering Point.
Yes.
This is fun. I should do a test. I don't know who's going to take this test. Probably no one, but maybe I'll put it out there. I have a nice prize or something like that. They can have a blanket or a coffee mug. We just got new coffee mugs last month, so I'm excited about those. All right. So you've been at Medstar. How long have you been Medstar for?
Going on, I believe, 3 years.
Did you dispatch anywhere prior?
No.
No? That's it? You just kicked it off, went right into the medical side of dispatch?
So initially, I took the EMT course at TCC, and I finished that. I just didn't take my test.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, I'm going to go get hired on at Medstar. That way I'm already with the company and I can do some moving within the company. And I didn't want to switch over until I had finished all my training and everything. And I wanted to be pretty proficient in my job before I try to take on anything else. But I've kind of just been there. I mean,
did you fall in love with the communication side of things?
Yes.
And you're just like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I ever did go in the field, I would do that. My main job would be communications, and then I would pick up in the field.
Oh, okay. That'd be all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so all you have to do is take a test.
Kind of take a test, so I would be certified with take the national test, and then of course be hired on by Medstar for EMT, and then take all of their courses, which is another scheduling nightmare.
A possible another scheduling conflict that you'll have. Okay, so you'll do all that, and that will. How long does that process take if you get on? Well, if you got to take the test, so you just have to go do that. Do you have to go do that at TCC?
No, I don't actually remember where I have to take it. I do know that I think it's past the time for me to take it, so I don't know what.
Do you have to go do the class again?
I think so.
Well, that'd be a nice refresher.
Yeah, and then everybody would be like, "How do you know all this?" I'm like, I don't know. I just know it.
You'll be the brainiac of the class. They'll be like, "Oh my gosh, she is genius," and then you can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Or hopefully they'll never hear this podcast either. Nobody tell anybody that Elaine's going to go take her class again. So, okay, that's some good goals there and everything. That's awesome. But I've encountered in this season, as I've talked to dispatchers who were wanting to go be like nurses, or we had another EMT, or another line of work within public safety, they end up fallen in love with the communication side because it's everything. It's not the hands-on stuff. Totally get that, but you really take on everything else, and it really puts you on the spot without being physically on the spot.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So would you agree that happened? Like you just kind of fell in love with it, and
I fell in love with it. I don't see myself doing anything outside of EMS. A long-term goal would be to be a medic eventually.
Okay.
But that would all be part-time.
Yeah, because you went to communications first. That's awesome. See, telling you folks, I say it, everybody they fall in love with the communication side of the public safety. And that's great. And I like how you said your long-term goal, because one of my questions is where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So you're looking at being a part-time EMT and then doing still full-time. Would you want to grow within the communications division?
Yes, I have already grown a little bit, because I went from being, you get hired on and your title is System Status Controller at Medstar, but you're not a full System Status Controller until you're completely checked off of all your training, and then you do your call taking training, which is like, we cut it down to 14 shifts, but it's like a long process. It's a total of about 9 or 10 months.
Okay.
And then after that, you're checked off and you're a system status controller. And then the opportunity came up where there was a CTO position, so I applied for it, and now I'm one of the trainers.
All right, so you train all the newbies that come in. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you like that? Is it just kind of what you expected it to be, or is it?
I don't know. I've always kind of been someone who would always help people in regards to like training or learning or anything like that. So like at one of my previous jobs, I worked for Starbucks for 10 years, and I started off as a barista, then I became like a trainer, and then a supervisor, and then eventually a store manager. Okay,
awesome. There's a couple episodes that we talked about how much I just envy the Starbucks staff because they're just amazing. I don't drink coffee. But I'll go there with other people and things, and just seeing them. It's just like a symphony, and they don't even miss a beat.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the multitasking alone, I'm like, oh, you should apply to be a 911 dispatcher. I mean, no knock to Starbucks, but I would probably imagine the benefits are probably better as a first responder than at Starbucks. But no, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay if you want to work at Starbucks. I'm just saying, if you have all those fantastic multitasking skills, we would love to have them in the 911 community. So.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to a few people who are now dispatchers that have worked at Starbucks.
Okay, see, I love it. You're recruiting them. I don't know if the Starbucks company appreciates that, but hey, we do. So that's okay. Did you get them to go to Medstar, or did they go to other places?
No, I just would talk to them after they were already hired and be like, oh, what did you do before this?
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. Well, that's awesome. Okay, so it sounds you got a long-term goal of doing the EMT. I just think that's fantastic. And I do have to say, too, that, I mean, my own experience with Medstar personally, I love everybody there is so nice, and the ambulance drivers, communication. Of course, I got big hearts for the communication center. I got big hearts for all the communication centers, but when it's your dealing it's your call personal for health reasons. It's like, oh, and then of course I don't want to give my name because I'm like, they're gonna know who I am. Yeah. But everyone was great. So, and I actually got to, I saw one of the gals on the ambulance crew that was responding to mine at another event at the Senior Synergy Expo, because I go to that every year. And she was there, and I got to see her again. She's like, oh my gosh, I totally remember that and everything. Because I keep my when I ride my bike, I keep my business card in my pouch. Because I keep a few of them because I love my job, and I'll start talking about 911 education and offer free 911 education materials, and I'm always talking about my job. I mean, heck, I go to the grocery store or something like that. Someone will see my shirt and they're like, "Are you a dispatcher?" I'm like, "No, I'm the educator. I'm the 911 cheerleader." And then I go into so that's just that. But that's Medstar has some fabulous women and men that work there. So thank you for what you do, and on the medical side of things too. So, because that's all you guys are. It's just medical calls after medical calls. And, was there a moment that you didn't think you would stay, or like when you applied, did you think that you were just going to do it for a little bit and move on to the EMT thing, or like maybe you were like, maybe I'll just try this out? Did you think you'd be there 3 years and coming longer.
I knew I would be there longer. Okay. I didn't know how long I would be in communications.
Right, because of the EMT things.
Yeah, because my heart was set on being in the field.
Yeah.
Getting dirty in the field and helping people out there. And then I just was like, hey, I kind of like it in this little room right here.
This is not bad.
Yeah.
Not a bad gig. Now, when you applied, have you always wanted to be an EMT from when you were younger?
So when I was younger, I initially wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
I wanted to be an ER doctor.
All right.
And then,
that's you do like intensity. You're like, I don't want to be just any doctor. I want the craziness of the ER.
Yeah, because I mean, you never know what's gonna happen, and
that's for sure.
Just prepare for the unexpected and.
You're kind of like when I want it to rain, but I want it to be a hurricane, please.
Oh yeah. I live for things like that. I'm just
you are definitely in the right line of work. Kudos to you on selecting this profession. So you wanted to do you wanted to be an ER doctor. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I got pregnant with my daughter, and then I was like, oof, that's gonna be like nearly impossible. Like let's see what else I can do. And then that's when I got hired at Starbucks, and I did that. I was there forever. And then after Starbucks, I worked actually at this AC company down the road, and I did admin for them. And then a couple years later, I started working for both, Medstar and the AC company. And then I finally quit the AC company and just stayed with Medstar.
So you wanted to know, so going back to the question, like you want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So then like what got you to apply for Medstar?
Okay, yeah. So I mentioned to my daughter, because she was doing some type of school project or something, and I told her that when I was younger I wanted to be a doctor, and she's like, well, why didn't you do that? And I was like, well, it was going to be really hard, just having a kid and trying to go to school and so many years of school. So she's like, well, you should see what else you could do. And she's like, well, why don't you be like a nurse or something? And I was like, well, I kind of want to be like the first ones, which nurses, they are the first ones at the hospital.
Oh, sure.
But I was like, but who really is the first person to put hands on a patient? And that was EMTs and paramedics. And so then she was like, you should do something about that. So I looked it up, and I was like, this is literally only like a course.
You're like, I got to do this. This isn't 8 years of school.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, because I was with, I had already finished my associates at TCC, so I only needed my EMT class. And I did that, and then I got hired on at Medstar, and here I am.
Fantastic. And your daughter, by the way, sounds like a fabulous young woman.
Yes.
Just really, that's really impressive. It's like, Mom, what else can you do? You're good at something. What can you put out there? It just sounds like she's a really, really good one. That's great to motivate you like that. She's never going to give up on you. It sounds like that. So that's good. What would be a call that you took that you knew you had definitely made the right decision, that this was your calling, this is it, this is like your career tattoo, like you got this? Do you remember? Do you have one in particular that just stood out and you're just like, okay, yep, this is where I belong, definitely? If you ever had to question it, this was the call that stamped it.
I don't have a particular call, but if I had to say, it would probably be my very first call training. Because I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is how we do it. We're just helping people. Or if they don't need our help, we're sending them to the people that they do need to talk to.
You said with training, do you mean like when someone called, you were training someone and you took a call, or when you were in training?
When I was in training.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So nothing in particular, just the whole thing of just sending people help and hearing that relief of, reassurance for them that there's someone out there that can give them the help they need. Well, that's good. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Do you have any educational messages for the public out there? Anything that you've noticed when people call that, like a lot of the dispatchers, it's all, the 911 police dispatchers, it's very much know your location, but when they come to you guys, they have a pretty good idea of where, even if it's like we're trying to get the information or whatever, but you all work together as a fabulous team to get that. But do you have any other advice maybe on the medical dispatch side of things that you would like to share with the public? They're all ears.
Probably the shorter your answer is, the better. Because sometimes you'll ask, tell me exactly what happened. And they'll say, well, 15 years ago, I was in a car accident and my back's been hurting.
Oh, okay.
And
it's almost like the conversation you'd have at the doctor, like when the doctor's like, hey, when did this start or something like that. But with you guys, because if they are in touch with y'all, then it sounds like it's probably going to be immediate.
So then we'd be like, okay, so, but what happened today that you needed to pick up the phone and call 911?
Right.
What's the issue today that's different from before?
And folks, I just want to say too, it's not because they don't care or anything like that. It's because they want to get you the help as quick as possible, get that ambulance dispatched, and then get that information to the crew so the crew can start mentally get prepared of what they're going to be going to, what they're going to be handling and things like that. So don't take it as a negative thing. It's just they want the recent information, what's going on in that moment, so that they can help and treat you the way that they need to. Because you guys provide them with pre-arrival instructions based on what the situation may be.
Yes.
In your 3 years, have you delivered a baby yet?
I have delivered 2.
Ooh, did you get to meet them or anything like that? See, I wish they did that more often. They don't. I don't know. I want to hear one story where they named the baby after the dispatcher. Come on, let's have it. You all deserve that.
Right.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I named my kid after the dispatcher,
Yeah.
So that would be all right. Even if it was, boy versus girl, you can take a boy's name and turn it into a girly name, or a girl's name and put it to boy's name or something.
Yeah.
Or just name them Taylor, and then that can go either way.
Yeah.
So there you go. But so you've delivered 3 babies.
Two babies. Yeah, 2 babies.
2 babies, sorry. 2 babies. Have you had to do the Heimlich maneuver over the phone?
No. I actually recently did my first EpiPen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that?
It's
intense.
Yeah.
Were they get stung by bees or ate peanuts or?
So they called in and said, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. My throat is itching, and we just got through eating Panda Express, and I'm allergic to peanuts.
Oh yeah, don't they use peanut sauce and everything there?
Yeah.
That and high sodium. Just saying. Sorry, Panda Express.
So I just did my regular instructions, and then they're like, well, we have an EpiPen. Do we need to go ahead and use it? And I was like, well, let's just hold off for a second. So I finished going through all my instructions.
Right.
And then once we got to it, then we give the Epi instructions.
Okay. Does it, when they do the EpiPen, does it go away quickly? Is it pretty immediate? Or does it take maybe about 10 minutes or something to get everything through? I don't know how that thing works.
This person wasn't really, they were kind of having symptoms. They just felt weird.
Okay.
But they weren't having any trouble breathing. When we were getting off the phone, they're like, okay, I'm starting to feel like my throat is swelling a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't anything that they were freaking out about. They just knew that this is not the way I usually feel after I eat. So,
because isn't it common that the most thing is your throat will swell shut, and then you can't breathe.
Right.
And there's something the lips too. And there's something your lips will start if you eat. It just depends, I guess, on each person and how they have a reaction to it. But I'm
not allergic to anything, so I don't know.
I don't think I'm allergic to Monday mornings. I need to have an EpiPen every Monday morning. The EpiPen takes the shape of my bed, so I don't want to come, even though I still come to work really early. I'm an early riser. I get here pretty early at the office. But yeah, that's the only allergic reaction I have.
Yeah.
Then by noon, the allergy seems to go away.
Yeah.
And then I'm fine. Do you see the movie Hitch?
Yes.
With Will Smith.
Yeah, where he gets all swollen.
He eats that, and then he's drinking the Benadryl, juice. And then, I haven't watched that movie in forever. If you haven't seen Hitch with Will Smith, there's a part where they go to like a cooking class or something for a date night or something, and he eats a piece of fish or he's got a shellfish allergy, and he didn't realize he did until he did that, and then he just gets all morphed and whatnot because he's eating the shellfish. So they go to the store and he drinks a kid's Benadryl with a straw in it, like it's a juice box. So anyway, good times, good movie. Good movie. What else have you done CPR over the phone? I would imagine that's probably happened pretty frequently.
Yeah, I've done it more times than I can remember. And so at MedStar, we have this little tree outside of our...
Oh, I did. The one in the hallway?
Yeah.
That's like right before you walk in? Yeah. I have seen the CPR tree.
Yeah, so that's a CPR tree. So it's like each leaf is every time we get a ROSC, so return of...
what it stands for?
Yeah.
Like, is it prior... am I saying it resuscitation or... Basically, you saved their life. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds positive.
So, but you only get that if... you're doing CPR and then return a spontaneous circulation.
Okay. Wow. All right. That just clicked back in. I would never be able to remember. I guess I'd remember that if I worked there, but.
But you only get your little, so it's a tree and you have little leaves on it, and each leaf is an incident, and then it has the dispatcher's name, and of course the tree is covered in leaves, and you get your leaf by giving instructions, the patient being transported, they end up walking out of the hospital.
Oh, okay. Well, I like that there's a lot of leaves then, because that makes my heart happy. Because I know that it happens, and I think everyone at home knows it happens. That sometimes, unfortunately,
and then our tree also has squares.
They have squares.
The squares, which
is this where it gets sad?
No.
Okay. I'm like,
it gets happy.
Oh, okay.
The squares are every time you've delivered a baby.
Why are they squares? They should be little, like, I think they're wrapped up babies that's like out of the stork mouth or something.
That's the plan. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think it'd be cool for the tree to have different colored leaves for different stages of life. That way you can kind of look at it and see, okay, this was a person over this age. This was a person that was like, an adolescent. This was a baby.
That tree is going to have to be the size of the side of your building because you guys take so many medical calls and you all do such a great job.
Yeah, that way you can quickly, you can look at it and you can be like, okay, all the trees are all the times we've saved somebody.
Yeah.
And then, or we've helped save somebody. And then the leaves could be like a quick, you glance at it. Okay, the majority of the people are, this age, and then and then it would be like regular leaves, like leaves change colors, like.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I meant the different types of calling. It wouldn't be a CPR tree anymore. No. So it's kind of a CPR baby tree.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, the squares, they need to. I'm gonna email her and be like, hey, I'm a graphic designer. Can I help you and make a little baby bat? Like when you ever seen the stork thing? And they have the little. I think that's the
plan. But I don't know who's in charge of doing that.
Maybe like some baby acorns or something. I don't know. I'm just coming up with this now. I'm making this my own project now. No, I don't know. Wow. Okay. So you definitely, CPR, I know, is probably like the number one thing.
Yeah.
So you definitely have taken a lot of different calls and whatnot. And you know what the nice thing about this career is you're still going to have the new ones that come in that you never thought you're going to get, like abdominal thrusts. I am now going to wait for you to have an abdominal thrust call. Hopefully it won't be me. I do live in the city of Fort Worth, so hopefully it's not going to be me. Okay, that would be ironic.
Yeah.
I choked tonight because... I do
work tonight.
And then, and you work. Okay, I'm knocking on wood. Oh, please. No. Let's get that out of the universe there. Let's suck that back out. So, but you definitely have a lot of calls that you've taken and such. So I definitely want to thank you again for your service. Y'all do a job that, I always hear a lot of the public saying, I can never do that.
Yeah.
Even I don't think I could ever go back to it. I mean, it's been over 7 years since I've done it. And I'm like, I really just like being your cheerleader, actually.
Yeah. At work, I am the person who, first of all, I know everybody. So
you know everybody in Tarrant County, Fort Worth?
It seems like it.
Oh, okay. You're okay. All right.
I'll be like, you just took a call for a person I went to high school with.
Oh, were you born and raised here?
Yes.
Okay.
Or one time, actually, my brother called in one time. He works valet at the Omni, and somebody was in the vehicle having a seizure.
Oh, okay.
But I was actually training somebody on radio, and I was like, oh, look, my brother works there. And then so I typed in the phone number in my phone, and it was my brother's phone number. So I was like, is he calling in, or is somebody calling in for him using his phone?
Is he the patient or is he the caller?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I found out that it was him calling in for somebody, and then like just different people, like I've had a couple other family members, or like whenever we have the TACMed standoffs.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. So basically, like whenever you have your PD, you're staged for PD.
Oh, right. You can't get on scene yet.
Right.
And so, okay.
And then it turns into a whole situation. They bring in SWAT and everything.
Yeah.
I've had some of the people that were on the other end of that.
Oh,
they were in the house.
Oh, you knew them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's got to make it tougher, right? Because you know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, like that person, I didn't actually know them, but I went to school with their girlfriend or their wife or somebody.
But you still know of them. Like, you still can put a picture in your head of who they are and stuff. So that's personal, because you do know them. You may not like be shaking hands and hanging out and, going to see movies together and stuff, but you know who they are.
Yeah, and then so people at work are like, it's been a week or two since you've seen somebody's name on there that you know. And then like a couple days later, I'll be like, oh, there's somebody else I know.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. There you go. Is there like a tally mark, like Elaine?
No, I thought about
doing a board of each week of how many people.
Yeah. We were joking, and they said instead of how many days have we been accident free, which would be like, how many days have we had?
Have we not talked to someone that Elaine knows?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And that's just like friends and family. That's just from growing up around here. Oh, wow. So pretty much probably everyone knows that you work there, I would imagine. The people that you associate with. Or
maybe. I mean, more so the people that I am in contact with like now. Well, not necessarily people that I went to elementary or middle school with and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that's all right. That's good to know. There you go. You know everyone, so they're probably okay. Now, don't think just because you know Elaine that you're going to get some sort of, special service or treatment or anything like that.
Yeah.
But no, MedStar is really good about being on scene, because y'all see them. Everyone sees them. They literally drive around and wait for calls to happen. You know, you'll see them sitting in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven or, whatever. They just kind of hang out.
Yeah, and then it's just like a one-way street, because it can't be like, oh, hey, I saw that you called the other day. I can't do that. I just have to be like,
oh yeah, you can't say anything until, let's say something to you. Then that's but still, there's a lot too. So if when you work in, not just in the medical dispatch side of stuff, but any of the 911 dispatch or communications role, you can't do that. You gotta. I'm glad you brought that up, because those that are maybe interested in applying or working, it's mum's the word. Like you can't say anything. You can't, you can talk about the calls you have, but you just got to be discreet, and you leave out names, addresses, phone numbers, things like that. And even also, like, even when I talk about stuff on this podcast, like I'll keep it to where it's just the subject matter of the call itself. I don't, sometimes I don't even like giving if it's he, her, him, whatever. I just kind of say, well, they did that, and this is how the situation was or something. But yeah, so when you take on this job, if you do have someone that and they come say something to you, that's different.
Right.
But then you can't just be like, hey, because at the time they may not even realize that they talked to you. And so they may be embarrassed based on what the call is or something or whatever, and they didn't want anybody to know. And then
I took a call for my mother-in-law. She called and she was like, "Is this Elaine?" And I was like,
"Oh man,
yeah, hi."
That's awkward. I've had that happen to me, and when I worked in Illinois, I've had that happen to me, and someone is like, "Is this Abbey?" And it's just kind of, you're in your zone.
Yeah.
I'm in my zone, and then when that happens, it's almost like the Kool-Aid man busting through the wall, and you're just like, oh, okay, this just went a completely different direction, because your demeanor may change too, because you know the person, and your emotional status could change too, because you know the person.
Well, I know a couple of our call takers have had to do life-saving instructions on their family members.
Oh my gosh.
So my mom, she's like, I could never do this. Like I just too emotional to do anything you do.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, well, when you're taking the calls, you're kind of in it. Like, it's just, you're doing your job, you're inputting everything, helping the best you can. And a couple of the call takers that have had to do instructions on their family members, because I always would think, like, if it was something like that, I wouldn't be able to function. But a lot of the times it's, you're in the zone. Yes, you know who the person is, but you give your instructions, and then as soon as they hang up, they're like, I gotta go.
Yeah. Oh wow. I'm speechless on it. I can't imagine what that would be like if, my spouse or someone called into, I'm not 911 dispatcher anymore, but if I would have, taken that and been like, I think I'm having a heart attack or, whatever. And then they become, well, I hope that no one has to, I wish I could wave a magic wand and hope that no one has to do that where somebody, but I know that that's going to happen, especially with you. You know everybody.
Yeah.
Because you're the popular MedStar dispatcher.
Yeah.
Anybody who's anyone knows Elaine. Come on. You mean Elaine from MedStar? So there you go. So people are probably listening. They're probably like, wait, I called MedStar. I wonder if I talked to Elaine. There you go. I don't know. You can give them your dispatcher voice. MedStar, what do you guys say when you answer the phone?
MedStar, what's the address of the emergency?
Yeah, there you go. Does anybody think she sounds familiar? Let us know. You can reach out to Elaine and say thanks for her service. But thank you so much for coming on. This has been a really good chat. And again, thank you for your service and all that you do, and your posse over at MedStar, just amazing, and the ambulance drivers and such. So just that medical side of stuff is just kind of a different animal, if you will, when it comes to first responder or for emergency services and stuff. And we do have dispatch centers that will do it too. Like they do the police, fire, and EMS and everything. But it's, I think there's something to be said that's the only, you guys don't get a mix of calls. Those are all the calls you get. It's always going to be something medical. It's always going to be.
Yeah. And then people don't realize how much they tie into each other though. So just because we get a medical call doesn't mean it's strictly medical.
Yeah, it could change into something else. It could change into an unsafe situation based on what the medical situation is.
A lot of the calls that we do get, they are, of course, they talk to PD or fire first, and then they get sent over to us, and it's an assault. PD is still on the line, but we're helping with bleeding or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I worked for North Richland Hills and had dispatch for Haltom, and so those times that we stay on the phone just to make sure that especially if it's in a very intense, unsafe, potentially unsafe situation, where maybe someone's under the influence of something but was injured and they have weapons, and then it's just, it can And we could go on and on about how it could just go to, it could just hit the fan really bad, real quick in just a matter of minutes. But I love how the system is, the technology and everything of being able to have that, especially here in Tarrant County where everybody's connected and they can get, all first responder communications people can get the information that they need. And that's very, very helpful. So
do you know the history behind how 911 was first started?
Well, I know the whole Haley'sville, Alabama thing. The first 911 call?
The test call.
Yeah, the test call. Yeah, basically it was a test call, but technically it was the first call.
But, before that?
Oh, I don't know about before that.
Okay. So, fun fact, I learned this from another person I listen to, Bailey Sarian. She does a dark history podcast.
Oh, I totally listen to her. Is that the one that does the, okay.
Yeah, the murder mystery makeup.
She does the makeup stuff? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I love her.
I love her too. Oh my gosh, she is fantastic. I learned so much from her. Know. She did a 911?
Yeah. Her mom was a dispatcher.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to try to reach out to her.
Oh, that would be great. If you do, I want to come.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell us what's the fun fact that you found out?
Okay, so it started out with the Titanic.
Really?
1912, someone on the Titanic was trying to reach out for help when they were sinking, and they were the lines just kept ringing and ringing or whatever, and they couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Was it but didn't they do what's the little
the Morse code thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just telling you what Bailey told me.
Okay, no, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
So they said that they were trying to reach out for help. I would imagine they did some sort of Morse code as well. But that's when in England they realized we need to have something, a specific line that people could call for help. So then they implemented their 911, which
was that the call box? Was it in a call box or something? Or did they come up with one number? I know for a while there was call boxes too. Almost like the blue light things around here in the parking lot.
So they came up with the 999 because that's what they use over there.
Oh, is that what it is? Is 999 over there in England? And is it all of Europe or just
I believe
English?
So.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the reason is because back then they had like rotary phones and stuff.
Yeah.
So the 9 was the easiest number to find on it. So like if there was like a fire or something, you just look for 9 because I think the first number is like 0.
I haven't seen a rotary phone in a while. It's been a hot minute. Let's Google it. Let's Google it. We're going to ask the Google to show us a picture of a rotary phone. Rotary phone. I remember my grandparents had one in their living room. Oh, the Fisher-Price rotary phone. That's cute. Okay, let's see a picture of it. Because that's... Okay, so... Yeah. Well, it has... So, okay. It's... The one, so you had that little metal thing. For those that know it, ask Google if you don't know. If you're under a certain age, ask Google what a rotary phone looks like, and you'll be able to see. And so there's that metal clip thing, which I would assume is the stopper to it. The one starts above that, and then below that, going to the left, or be going clockwise, if you will, is the asterisk, that now known as the hashtag, but it used to call the pound sign. And then it's 0.
Okay.
So, and then it's 9. So it goes asterisk, pound sign, or hashtag, depending on your generation, 0, 9, 8, and then down, and then starts back over to 1.
I wonder if that's like the original.
We'll see the original. Okay, let's put 1912. 1912. Oh, okay. This seems a little bit more in that era. Oh, this definitely seems. This is the one with like the little bells looking things on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this phone, this is interesting. This is a good chat. So on this phone, where that little metal piece, because I think no matter what year or decade or whatever these phones came out, they always had that middle metal pointer stopper thing. This one actually has buttons. So I don't think you spin this, but it's reversed, and 0 is the first underneath it and then 9, but then the pound sign and the asterisk is underneath the 1.
That's interesting.
So that's crazy.
I didn't know they had buttons and then rotary and then.
Yeah, I guess some of them more buttons. This is rotary, but doesn't it look like, you know what? I wonder if this is rotary, but it doesn't have the plate on it to make it move. Because I just looked at this one. We're looking at, seriously, folks, I Googled 1912 rotary phones. There's one that has this plate on it. See it? And then it doesn't, so it has the same that this phone does. This doesn't have the plate on it. So I think this is also it's not buttons. It actually moves too. Because why would it have that stopper on there? So yeah, ask the Google that and check that out. But that's okay. So they did the 9, which still is kind of questionable because, well, I wonder if they had implemented 0 for operator. These are good questions.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you have answers for us, you can always reach out. You can comment depending on what platform that you're listening this to, or you can email me at pubed@tc911.org because I love to hear from everybody. But this is a good one. Rotary phones and the whole, when did they start the operator thing?
Yeah.
Now, they used to be able to pick up the phone and it would go immediately to them.
Yeah, but it was like the red phone.
Yeah, like a bat phone.
Yeah.
It's like you would just pick it up and say, oh, I need to be connected to the fire department, or I need to be connected to the police department or sheriff's department or something, like constables or whatever they used to call it back in the day. And then they would connect you. Mm-hmm. And then 0 came out and you would dial 0 for the operator.
Plugging.
Yeah. So I wonder, 911, so then they just, obviously what Bailey said, is they started 9 and they just started using the 999.
Yeah, and then whenever they finally came over to the States, they're like,
we can't
we
do
need
what
to do
they're
911,
doing.
but we don't want to be waiting for that 9 to come back all the way around 3 times. We're going to do 1 9 and 2
there
ones.
We go. There
Short
we go.
and sweet.
Work smarter, not harder. That makes sense. That's interesting. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited that you said that because I'm serious. Like, I'm going to reach out to her. And I'm going to see, because her mom was a dispatcher. How have I not picked that? Does she have another different channel that she does her? Because I always listen to the murder makeup stuff.
I just go on YouTube because I like watching YouTube. Do you watch her on YouTube or do you?
Oh, no, I watch her on YouTube.
Yeah, because oh my gosh, she's so funny.
Yeah, she is hilarious. She's like, da-da-da, da-da-da.
I was like, if I ever met her, I feel like we would be best friends. And actually, her family lives over here somewhere. I think they live in Arlington because I was following her on Instagram or something, and they were at like the lights or
the GM parade
something.
thing?
They were at something.
Okay.
And I was like, they're in Arlington.
Oh, okay, so something in Arlington. Oh, they had maybe they're having a Christmas tree thing up back in Christmas or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and for those that are listening, this is what's her last name? Bailey Sarian. Bailey Sarian, and I think she's probably got a pretty big following. I'd be surprised if there was people listening that already knew. Yeah. Because right when you said her, I was like, oh my gosh, I love listening to her murder makeup stories and stuff, and she's funny, and she just, I don't really wear makeup, but I love just watch. It's interesting how she does it, because sometimes for Halloween she'll do like different stuff and whatever. But so it's on this. Is it on the same channel when she started talking about the Titanic and her mom being a 911 dispatcher?
So I just Google her, or no, I just search her in YouTube, and then I don't know how YouTube organizes everything, but it's usually like a jumbled mess.
Yeah. So there's like an array of different things.
Yeah. Then I go to like different playlists, and then it does murder mystery makeup.
Yeah.
And then it does dark history and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love it. If you're into that thing, like totally watch her and listen to it, because it's good. I learned so much, and I'm like, no way.
And then another fun fact: there's another podcast I listen to. It's called Ologies by Allie Ward.
Okay.
And they were talking about ADHD, and they said that the majority of people who have ADHD, the number one field that they're in is EMS. Really?
That is interesting. Okay. Wow. That is interesting information.
And she gets she does her research, and she gets like professionals in all the fields and stuff.
Okay.
And she talks about it, but she talks about all kinds of stuff too. Like, I learned about mushrooms mycology, and like I was like, mushrooms, what the heck is she going to talk about?
Mushrooms on the ground, or like psychedelic mushrooms, or
all of them,
all of the above?
And I'm like, what the heck is she going to tell me about mushrooms? Like, what's so interesting about mushrooms?
One, I love a good delicious portobello mushroom. I'm just going to say seasoned properly.
And me too, I love mushrooms. And so after I listened to her thing, I was like, what the heck? This just blew my mind. I didn't know she could tell me so much about something that was so like insignificant to me before.
You would never think. Now you probably look at mushrooms a whole different way now.
Oh yeah, they make fun of me at work too
because of the mushrooms. Do you have you put mushrooms on your pizza?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mushrooms are good. I really enjoy them. I wonder what I'll have to look up what their nutritional value is, but I will stop my Googling for this episode because I could just Google stuff all day. I'm one of those people too, like for some reason can't sleep and I'll be like, I wonder whatever happened with the John Benet Ramsey case. And then I'll just start going searching.
Bailey.
I know, right? I just start looking for stuff. It's horrible. And then I wonder why I'm so tired. The next day is like, because I needed to know how squirrels survived during the winter. And I had to look at that. And then that turned into, a water skiing squirrel. And then that goes into other things. And then I want to know, hey, how are boats made? It's a whole cavalcade of nonsense for me with that. So thank you, YouTube, on helping me not sleep. I appreciate that. So, but anyway, again, thank you, Elaine. I really appreciate it. It was a good chat. I told you we'll start about something and it'll go off the other end. But hey, you know what? It's not boring. Yeah. So that's good. And I learned something too. And you told me her mom was a dispatcher. Yep. So I'm like, and they live in Tarrant County, or at least her folks do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to see what I can do about that because that would be fun. That would be a good time. And I'll let you know. You'll have to let me know when you do abdominal thrusts. And then I'll let you know if I get a hold of her parents.
So have you only called 911 the one time for yourself?
I've called 911 about other things while I was working at this job, but not, I think I actually called one time, and it was actually for here because there was a gentleman out in our parking lot who had walked up and needed some, I think he was having a diabetic situation and needed some help. And then, my call was 2 Christmases ago, like on Christmas Day. So yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Why did I mean, everyone. So do you really call it? You only been there 3 years.
No, it's funny too because like I've called once and I was just on the other end of it, and you would think, I know everything that they're gonna ask and stuff, but like I just went blank. I just turned into like a regular person.
Yeah, but the one thing I went blank on everything else. The one thing that was literally engraved in my head and on my tongue to say was my location. Because I was like, if they know it's me and I educated the entire county about knowing your location when you call and I fluff that up, I'm going to be in trouble. So I was like, that is one thing I am not messing up. And I even had one where it wasn't an emergency situation. It was more of a motorist assist for me. And I was on the highway. I blew out the tire. I ran over something in the highway, some big, huge piece of metal or a sculpture or something. I don't know what it was, but it blew out 2 of my tires. And I was really good. I actually got a compliment from the Fort Worth officer because he was like, your directions are great. I knew when I saw the call notes, I knew exactly where you're at because it was like the eastbound 30 to the 820 north split. And it was like the ramp to get, I was like all over it because I'm like, not today. I'm totally, if I'm calling.
Especially a freeway call, and 820. That's the hardest to get an address.
Oh, so I had it like it was money. I felt really good about myself. Like I was like, all right. I'm like, but I better because that's what I teach people. So it's like the one who teaches calls and I don't know my location.
Yeah.
That wouldn't look too good. So I kind of feel a little bit like pressure's on a little bit. Not that anybody puts it on me. It's myself doing it. But I'm just kind of like, all right, come on, Abby. You got this.
Yeah, like the one time I called, I was like, I don't know. I'm on Boat Club Road.
There's some grass.
And then my boyfriend was there, and he was a police officer for Sansom Park.
Oh, okay.
He's not anymore, but he was before. And he's like, oh, it's this 100 block of Boat Club Road, and we got the address. But that was a weird situation.
Isn't that crazy? But I do know what you mean, though, too, because I've there's been other people in first responder land that have called, and it is true. You just blank.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
so,
oh.
My situation was I found a body.
Okay. You can't come back from that. That's, wow, you win.
And so we were coming home because we went to my friend's house. It was for my birthday celebration last year, I think. And we went to go eat fondue, and then we went to my friend's house and hung out. And then it was actually a couple of the dispatchers that work at MedStar. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. It's like 2:15 in the morning. Like, we need to go out and be careful because it's bar 30 and everybody's leaving.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so I'm driving home, and my boyfriend and my daughter in the car, and they're like sleeping. And then I was like, is that a body?
Whoa. Like when you were driving, like sometimes how you see like a dead coyote or something that's got hit on the road?
Yeah.
So you're just a person.
Yeah. And I was like, is that a body?
Oh my gosh.
And then they both like get up, and then I turn around, and my daughter's like, do you need me to call 911? I was like, let's just wait a second, because half the time it's like
what if it's a mannequin or something like that?
It's usually like somebody that's just sleeping, or
what road? Are you on a busy road?
I was on Boat Club Road.
Oh, Boat Club Road.
Yeah.
Someone just sleeps on if you get a lot of calls like that? That people just sleep on the side of the road?
Where people are sleeping on the side of the road all the time, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, all the time.
Really? Wow.
They're
okay.
like, oh, I think there's something wrong with this person, but I don't feel comfortable getting close to them. Well, what are they wearing? Oh, they're on the side of the road, but they're covered up in the blanket. They're probably sleeping.
Okay, like I know that we have like our homeless places around, like under the under bridges and stuff. I guess I'm just picturing me driving and then like randomly just seeing someone just napping on the side of the road.
Okay, so it was weird because so I turn around the little whatever median, and then we pull into this driveway, and I'm like, I tell my daughter, call 911, because once we pulled in, I saw the scene, and I'm like,
was the person hit by a car?
Autoped, yeah.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh! I'm just imagining that you had. I'm just going through the emotions right now of you actually seeing that.
But remember,
you want to be an EMT.
Yeah.
You're like, Abby, wait, hold a second.
So then I told my daughter, go ahead and call 911. And she's like, what do I say? I was like, just answer their questions. If you don't know, then give the phone to Brian, my boyfriend. And then they eventually gave the phone back to me. And they're like, tell me what happened. Of course, I'm talking to MedStar because it's in their area. And I'm like, hey, it's Elaine. I'm on the other night shift. I found a body. It's an autoped. And then they were like, okay, well, and I said, like, she's gone. And they're like, well, one of the questions is, please tell me why it looks like she's dead.
Yeah, like, what is it, beyond help or something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
So I just like blanked on the criteria and stuff, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to do CPR. And I was like, okay, bet, we'll do the CPR.
Wait a minute. Okay, so I obviously don't have the image that you have in your head, but
she was not. Okay.
Give me another, because I'm picturing, like, was it safe to do CPR on her?
Okay, so the weird thing was, okay, I turned around, I pulled into the driveway of whoever's house, and there was, like, car parts and stuff all in the street, and then I was like, I talked to Lake Worth Police, and I was like, this is an autoped. And like, well, how do you know? And I was like, there's pieces of car in the street. It was a homeless lady, and you could see her little cart, and there was a shoe in the street and a hat and stuff. But the weird thing was, she was not in the street, and she wasn't like hit and then like thrown.
Oh, do you think they moved her?
They did.
Oh, what?
They because the way they moved her, she was out. They had her where her feet, she was laying on her back and her feet were hanging like barely off of the curb. Like they moved her out of the way onto her back and then left.
Okay, who does that? What is wrong with you?
But they ended up finding the person who did it.
Okay, good.
Because they did some, like, detective work and a piece of the
police
light.
Departments are amazing, and they'll find it, and they'll find that person. Good.
Yeah. They found a piece of the light from the car and traced the serial number back to the manufacturer.
That's amazing.
And all that.
That's good police work right there.
That was like within a couple of days. Like, I think before the weekend was over.
Was that Lake Worth Police?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is really, really awesome. And it's reassuring too, because it's like, if that happened to you, a family member of yours, a friend, anyone you knew, like, you want that person found. Mm-hmm. You want justice for that, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't matter who it is or what their status is in the community or something. No one deserves that. That's so sad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you had to, I mean, still you had to come across that. So because of someone's poor decision, mm-hmm. and you had to endure that whole scene, and now you have that memory and everything like that. So it's just, wow.
Yeah, so another thing that they say at work is be prepared if you go out with Elaine, because you never know what you're going to find.
Apparently. I was going to ask if you want to go get some tacos, but never mind. Good Lord. Disregard. We'll just Uber eat it, okay? How about that? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. I think we're going to end on that one. That was good. I'm probably going to ask you some questions when we get done and everything, because I kind of want to know some more stuff, but I don't want to ask it on the podcast.
Okay.
So thanks again, Elaine, and thank you to everyone who listened. I appreciate your support. If you haven't already, go back and listen to the other episodes and some of our fabulous 911 first responders that are in the Tarrant 911 district area, and also go back and listen to season 2 and 1. They're still hanging out there, and you can be entertained and razzle-dazzled by them. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, or want something specifically you'd like me to talk about on this podcast, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me on any of our social media platforms via messaging system, or you can shoot me an email at publiced@tc911.org. And until next time, have a fabulous week.